Is mixed messaging hurting the Republican Party? Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell came out against the RNC for censuring two of the party's members.
We saw what happened. It was a violent insurrection for the purpose of trying to prevent the peaceful transfer of power after a legitimately certified election from one administration to the next. That's what it was.
McConnell also said the Republican National Committee should be in the business of supporting GOP candidates, no matter their view. The statement came after the RNC voted to censure Representatives Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger for serving on the January 6th committee. Here to talk about this is former Texas GOP Chairman James Dickey and Jamarr Brown, co-executive director of the Texas Democratic Party. James, we seem to have competing narratives from Trump, the RNC, and McConnell. Who should Republicans believe?
Well, actually, Republican voters and all voters should make up their own mind. What the party was saying is that these two elected officials went along with kangaroo court that Nancy Pelosi and the House has put together. For the first time ever, a commission was put together where not a single member proposed by the minority leadership was accepted for the first time ever. And yet, these two elected Republicans gave cover to that kangaroo court. And so it was appropriate to say, don't do that. The good news is, though, Republicans only have to worry about how much should we be worried about fighting with each other. Democrats need to worry about the fact that voters are waking up to the destruction Democrats are causing all over the country.
Well, speaking of Democrats, Jamarr Brown talking about the GOP. Do you think there's an issue here with who to believe? Is it sectioning off the party?
Well, I think the thing that you have to notice about the Republican Party, what we've seen right now and all across the country, is they're clearly the party of the former defeated impeached president. And so for a year, they spent multiple times in defending him. They spent multiple times obstructing the January 6th investigation committee in Congress. In doing that, we're seeing Trump allies running for federal, local, and state office all over the country. And so I think that you'll see that a lot of the loyalty is still to Trump. And now that more facts are coming out about January 6th, they have no choice but to also call it a violent riot, which it actually was, to interrupt our democracy and a peaceful transfer of power.
Okay. You know, James Dickey, you've got Mitch McConnell on one side, and you seem to have Trump and the RNC on the other. Is that a good way to look at it?
Not really. I mean, because you've got Minority Leader McCarthy also, who said, no, the way this commission was being put together, it's clearly a kangaroo court for Nancy Pelosi to distract from the worst inflation in 40 years, the highest gas prices we've seen, jobs that aren't even back to where they were 2 years ago. This is nothing but a play to try to keep an issue that Democrats might make some points on. That's all it is.
Well, speaking to that, how do Democrats take advantage of this apparent schism in part of the Republicans, Jamarr?
Well,
and I think
I
think the absolute point is that's important in this particular case is it's not that the Democrats are taking advantage of January 6th. The facts are the facts, and you can't dispute that. And now they don't have a choice but to dispute that. But the absolute thing that we're talking about, not only in Texas, but all over the country, is the opportunities that we have through the infrastructure bill, how we're making a difference in people's day-to-day lives. Those are the things that people care about, right? How their bank accounts are filled, how they can go to work, how they can go to send their children to school safely. And so those are the things that we are continuing to talk about, because those are the issues that Texans are facing every single day. And now that we have the facts about January 6th, we have to make sure that we're continuing to press toward this election to make sure that we're talking about the issues that matter to Texans.
Okay, well, you know, bottom line, it's politics as usual, it would appear. We got to wrap it up. James, Jamarr, thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.